Hello everyone, my name is Ethan. I'm a young, aspiring entrepreneur and speaker, and today we are going to be discussing introverts versus extroverts, the differences between introverts and extroverts, and why introverts are at a disadvantage towards extroverts, and why you, yes you, are not actually an introvert, and why you're just getting inside your own head, convincing yourself that you're an introvert when you really aren't. For the longest time, I'd always go out and I'd believe that I was completely an introvert. If you asked me a year ago, if you asked me 2 years ago, oh, what, are you an introvert or an extrovert? I would have told you, I'm an introvert. And I would have been shy, and I would have had like a shy little smiling. Now, if you ask me, are you an introvert or an extrovert? I'd tell you straight up, I am an extrovert. I made the transition. I've went from introvert to extrovert. So I've been on both sides. I know what both sides are like. And I know the frame of mind that you have as an introvert. As an introvert, you go out and you think, oh, I shouldn't ask for more ice in my drink because the waiter might look at me weirdly. But as an extrovert, you think, hey, hi, how are you? Okay, I noticed there wasn't as much ice in my drink. Would you mind giving me some more ice? Whatever. You know, you can be friendly. You learn how to make requests without being a jerk. You can be very charismatic, you can be very warm, and you receive that warmth back from people. When you go out on the street and people are like, they're just going about their own business, and they're ignoring you. If you give them attention, if you wave at them, if you're like, hey, how are you? Just randomly out of nowhere. The reactions you'll get are so different. Like, some people will be like, and they'll like glare at you and they'll be mean to you. Other people will be like, hey, ho, and like you made their day because everyone else just keeps ignoring them. And you, as an extrovert, made their day by looking at them and by waving at them and by treating them like a human being. As an extrovert, you've got all these tools in your arsenal. You're not afraid of asking the boss for a raise. You're not afraid of asking this guy at the resort to use his venue for a speaking event or for a wedding gig or for something like that. As an extrovert, you go out and you do a lot of things a lot better and a lot quicker than introverts. For the longest time, I was an introvert. I'd go out to a restaurant and the waiter would ask me, hey, what do you want to have? And I'd be like, and I'd just point out the item on the menu. I did not even have the confidence to tell the waiter what item I wanted. Like, I'd have to point at it, my parents would look at it, and then they'd tell that to the waiter. I was super, super insecure and super, super shy. So I know what it's like to not want to go out, to sit in my room and just play video games all day. Because with video games, there was nobody judging me. There was no risk of anyone judging me. I would just sit in my room, I'd close the door, I'd get myself some snacks, and I'd just sit in my room playing video games from the morning till night. I'd go to school, I'd do my homework, and then I'd play video games for the rest of the day. I'd go to bed late, wake up tired, go to school. I would just keep repeating that the whole time. And that's a really destructive pattern to have, because I kept believing that I was an introvert. I started pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I started doing things that scare me, and now I can confidently say that I'm an extrovert. I'm no longer an introvert, and you can also become an extrovert because you are not really an introvert. Yes, I said it. In my personal opinion, you are not an introvert. You are an extrovert. There is no such thing as an introvert. Introverts are just extroverts that deal with their problems and their insecurities by hiding themselves from the world. Every single person on the face of the earth has insecurities. We all just deal with them differently. Introverts deal with their insecurities by locking themselves in the room and playing video games all day, or reading a book and just sitting inside and not wanting to talk to people and being super shy when the phone rings and ignoring the phone when it rings. They deal with it by hiding themselves. I know, because I have been in that exact same position where you just don't want to talk to anyone and you don't want to go anywhere and you just want to sit in your room and play video games all day because you're too shy to talk to anyone. I have literally been there, so I get that. But on the other side of it, you have extroverts. We deal with our insecurities by hiding them in a different way. We might hide it by being very humorous. We might hide it behind humor. We might hide our insecurities by wearing fancy clothes, whatever. We deal with it in different ways, but we don't allow, generally as extroverts, we don't allow our insecurities to get in the way of us being ourselves around people. Sure, and people with like authoritative ranks and stuff, people who like the CEO or the boss of this company, that can be a little bit intimidating and everyone gets nervous. That's a normal human thing, but that doesn't mean you're an introvert, okay? You have to learn how to deal with that, and you have to learn how to get past that so you can be your true self. And your true self is not being an introvert. If you're shy, that is not who you are. Shyness is not who you are. Shyness is what stops you from being who you actually are. Shyness and being an introvert is not part of your personality. It is not. It's a limit on your personality. It's not part of it, it's what limits your personality. Being an introvert limits you, okay? Being an extrovert means you're opening your barriers, you're opening your limits, you're expanding your limits, your area. Being an introvert means you want to keep it as close to you as possible. And nobody is actually an introvert. It sounds like I'm insulting introverts, and yes, I am. But that's because you are not an introvert. Nobody is an introvert. You're just extroverts that deal with your insecurities by hiding yourselves from the world. And once you start pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, once you start to realize, hey, people aren't gonna bite my head off if I just ask for a little bit more ice in my drink. Whoa, I can actually go out and I can talk to people. I can actually say that I want orange juice instead of Coca-Cola, and people won't be mean to me. You start to realize things like that, and I've been there. I've gone through that. I've made the transition from introvert to extrovert. It's taken me like 2 or 3 years to go from complete introvert to extrovert. I'm not full-on extrovert yet, but I've gotten rid of my introverted side. I've gotten rid of my shy, whiny, complaining, insecure little side. Sometimes it still pops up, but when it pops up and when I notice that it pops up, I try to punch it in the face and make it lie back down. I try to get rid of it. Whenever it pops up, I try to get rid of it by pushing myself into the uncomfortable sensation. Like, you dive into the uncomfortableness. You go towards what makes you uncomfortable. You tell the waiter, hey, I'd like a little bit more ice in my drink. How about that? Is that good? Like, sure, you're gonna be stuttering, you're gonna be nervous, you're gonna be all freaked out at first, but then you'll start to realize, hey, I can actually ask for more ice in my drink and she won't be mean to me. You learn how to make requests without sounding rude. And as an introvert, you don't make requests often. And then when you do make requests, people might perceive it as rude because they're like, whoa, this person's very rude. That's just because you're not used to it. And the more you make requests, the more you realize how you can do so while being warm at the same time, and how you can get a good reaction from actually making a request. In life, selling is the most important skill, in my opinion. In my opinion, selling by far is the most important skill. You need to be able to sell people, even if you're an employee, or if you're a builder, or a contractor, or if you're a real estate agent, or if you're just a single parent. Selling is the most important skill. You need to be able to convince your kid, hey, Bobby, you need to eat your vegetables. You need to be able to convince the person, this house is really great for your needs. You need to be able to convince the person, I am the best builder in the industry, and I'll build this for you in 2 weeks. It's gonna be up, it's gonna be standing. We're gonna have a team of 40 builders here. It's gonna be excellent. You have to be able to do that in life, no matter what your position. If you're an employee, you have to be able to go to your boss and be like, hey, boss, I want a raise. Like, you have to actually deserve the raise. But if you're an introvert, chances are, a lot of times you might deserve the raise, but you're not getting it because you're not asking for it. And when you ask for it, you're not used to making requests, so the boss perceives it as, this person's just mean and he's full of crap, and I'm not going to give him a raise because he's lazy and he does nothing. Like, you have to be able to sell yourself. And without being an extrovert, if you think you're an introvert, if you're believing that you're an introvert, you won't be able to sell yourself in the way that you need to sell yourself. And that's not a reference to anything weird, or it sounds weird when you say you have to sell yourself, but that's not what I mean. You have to be able to sell the world on why you are the best person for the job, why you are the best person, and why you have wisdom to tell your kid, hey, you have to eat your vegetables. You have to learn how to interact with people. And being an introvert kind of blocks you from doing that. And you're not actually an introvert. I'm going to say this again. You are not an introvert. Say it with me. I am not an introvert. I am not an introvert. You are not an introvert. Okay? It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. You might differ from my opinion, but I don't believe that you are an introvert. I genuinely don't believe that there are any introverts on this planet. I just believe that there are extroverts, and then there are extroverts who lie to themselves about being extroverts. And this isn't just me that's been an extrovert all my life, and I'm like, oh, everyone's an extrovert. Yeah, just party every day, James Bond, charisma, hello, can I have a martini, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, I have been there. I know what it's like to be an introvert. I've been on both sides. For the vast majority of my life, I was an introvert. Like, recently, a year ago, I actually became an extrovert. I actually realized that there is no such thing as an introvert. An introvert just means you're shy. If you look up the definition of introvert, it means a shy, reticent person Look up the definition of introvert on Google right now. It says a shy, reticent person. Shyness is not who you are. You are not a shy person. Shyness is what stops you from being who you are. And the way you're going to get rid of that shyness is by going outside and doing something that other people will look at you like you're crazy for. Like what I did was I would go outside, I would find a quiet street where there are no cars, but lots of people walking by, and I would lie down in the middle of the road on my phone, just reading my messages, whatever, and then sometimes I'd just put my phone away and just look at people's reactions. They'd look at me like, what? Why is that kid in the road? What's he doing? He's so weird. Get out of the road, kid. You're gonna get yourself run over. I don't suggest you do that, and if you do so at your own risk, but I really don't suggest you do that because, safety and whatever, don't do that. But that's what I did. I did stuff like that. I started talking to the waiters more often. I struck up conversations with salespeople at the tech store. I started doing things like that. And it's the small things. You have to do little small things that push you outside your comfort zone. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to unlock your true self. Your true self is in there, but it's just locked away because you think you're an introvert. You are not an introvert. You're not a shy, reticent person. That's what stops you from being who you are. I hope I was able to provide value and insight. I hope I was able to intrigue you and inspire you to go out there and to push yourself outside your comfort zone because you are an awesome person, but the world is not seeing that because you're hiding behind this mask of being an introvert. It's just a mask. You're not an introvert. You have to get rid of that so you can be an extrovert. It doesn't mean that introverts are bad or extroverts are superior or whatever, because there is no introvert. There is no extrovert. It's made up terms. People made up the term so they could hide their insecurities from the world by hiding themselves in their room all day. I know, I've been on both sides. I'm not bashing introverts here. If you're an introvert here, I hope that you get over that. I hope that you can live your life to your full potential. Even if you stay an introvert 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, I still hope that you have an incredible, awesome life, and I've got nothing but love for you here. But you have to start pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're listening to this on iTunes, please hit that subscribe button. If you're listening to it on Stitcher, hit that plus button. If you're listening to it anywhere else, hit that button. And I hope I was able to provide value. I've said that 50 times, so I'm just going to end it right here. Thank you very much for listening.